Festool rail, Bosch track saw, MFT solution. Let's have a look. What's happening, everyone? Welcome back to the workshop. Now, in this video, I'm going to look at a potential solution for the Bosch track saw using it with an MFT table. So, regular viewers of my channel, you will know, guys, that I've been having some issues with my MFT table and my Bosch tracks. They just do not work with the dog system for this MFT table. The MFT table itself is absolutely fantastic. It's a brilliant system to have in your workshop. There's multiple things you can do with this system, and the UJK Power Guide system to lay it all out is absolutely fantastic. And I have videos on all that if you want to check them out. But there's a real issue with these Bosch tracks and how the Bosch track saw works on them. I'll go through that in this video. We'll keep it nice and short and sweet. We'll show you a potential solution using the Festool rail. It might be a good cost-effective option. So without further ado, let's jump in. Let's look at the issues. Let's try the track saw out on the Festool rail, see how everything works. And I have to make some adjustments now to my MFT table as well. So we'll do that in this video. Let's jump in and have a look. Okay, so before we jump in and look at all the issues with this, I just want to say a quick shout out to Vincent Howard. He's the Festool rep for Ireland. He actually gave me this track. So Vincent is a Waterford man, the same as myself. He's actually in my home county. He's on Instagram as Festool Vinny. So definitely go check him out there. He does reviews of all the Festool gear, and he has all the latest gear, and he actually supplied me with this track. So I didn't actually pay for this myself. This was supplied to me. And yeah, just let you guys know that, and definitely check Vincent out. He's a really sound guy, and I just want to say thanks for supplying me with this track, as he is a fellow Waterford man as well. So let's get on and have a quick look at what we're going to do here. Okay, so let's look at the problem and then look at the potential solution. And this might be a good option for any of you guys out there who are using the Bosch or the MFT. They're essentially the same saw. The MFT is a little bit more spec'd out than the Bosch, but it uses the same track system, and you guys will have similar problems on your MFT table. If you want to use an MFT table with your saw, you might look at this option too. So the Bosch tracks, they're absolutely fantastic using them on their own. I have no issue with them whatsoever. Breaking down sheet goods and stuff like that, flies through it, lines up straight. The coupling system with the Bosch track saw is absolutely fantastic. It literally takes seconds to put the tracks together, and it pulls them straight as you tighten the cam bolts. It just pulls that track straight. I have a full review of this saw showing how that all operates if you want to check that out. But the problem is the tracks are so narrow that the Bosch track saw overhangs its own tracks. And if you're setting your track up against the dogs, as you can see, the saw crashes into the dogs, and it really limits your cutting length, your cutting capacity. When you hit the dog, it knocks the track away from the dog. It's very frustrating. It just doesn't work with an MFT table. You're very limited. So the option is get dogs with T-nuts in them. There's a T-slot in the bottom of this, and you can put the track onto that. But like I said, a number of you guys messaged me saying you were having real issues using those dogs with this track, as when the dogs are attached to the track, it's hard to get the track in and out of the table, and it's a bit of a faff. So I said, we won't go down that route. Knowing that the Bosch track saw fits other tracks, we're now going to try the Festool track in this video. So you can see just how much wider the Festool track is compared to the Bosch track. So the Bosch saw is not going to overhang this track. Now, it also fits onto this. We just have to do a minor adjustment to the saw. So let's do that now. Okay, so like I said, the nice thing about the Bosch track saw is that you can put this onto the Festool track or any of the Festool clones, such as the Makita track, and there's other ones out there that use a similar system to Festool. This will fit it. It's only a case of removing this black strip right here in the base of the Bosch saw. So let's get on and do that. Okay, so nice and simple. We have 4 Torx screws to remove. We'll just pop them out. And this strip then should just pop out. There we go. So that's all we have to do, remove that, and now this will run on the Festool rail. Okay, so now that the black strip is removed, we can run on the Festool rail. So that sits on there just like that. Now, we have a little bit of wiggle room here, as you can see, so we need to adjust these guys. So these are what tighten the Bosch track saw onto the track, and it works with its own track as well as the Festool. So you can see there's just little adjusters here and here, and they tighten each way. So they'll tighten into the groove for the Bosch track, and they'll tighten into the larger groove for the Festool track. So it's a nice little addition to the Bosch track. So a little tighten up on these that are quite stiff. Still a small bit of movement. I'm going to have to get a pliers because they're very, very stiff. A quick tighten down. Okay, there's all the play gone out of that. A little tighten down here. Small bit more. Okay, so a little bit of adjusting with the two knobs for tightening on the track. It's taken all the slack out of it now, so it's not wiggling on the track, and it's sliding nicely. So there we go, Bosch track saw on a Festool track. Okay, so now we can see the Bosch track saw on the Festool track. It flies right by those dogs, happy days. And the nice thing with the Festool track as well, it has a T-slots on top, so you can actually clip this track to the dogs, securing it. Now, we're not out of the woods yet. We still have a slight issue with the Bosch track saw. That's the size of this motor and how much this sticks out. So even with the Festool track, there is potential to hit these dogs with the motor. I'm not doing it now, I'm just clearing it, but my blade is running on the top of my MFT table. If that was to go down into the sacrificial strip, that motor would clip that dog, which is a potential issue. But there are smaller dogs that can be used, such as that, to get you down there. Now, there are super dogs and other dogs that you can get that you might be limited with using the Bosch track saw, so we'll have to see how we go. We still could run into potential issues, but for now it's solved at least one of the issues, and that's that the base of the track is no longer clipping the dogs, but we still have a potential to clip the dogs with the overhanging motor. Okay, so the eagle-eyed amongst you will have noticed now that my blade no longer runs in my sacrificial strip. So this is something we're going to have to address. I'm going to have to widen this sacrificial strip. We'll do that in this video. But if you guys have watched me build this table, you can see how handy this sacrificial strip is, and it just pulls straight out. But because my track is now wider, it's now put my blade out into a series of dog holes that I've done on this bench, which is going to be a little bit of an issue. But I'm going to route in a much wider sacrificial track so that I can still continue to use the Bosch tracks when I need to, and I can use the Festool track as well. So we just need to widen this sacrificial strip. So there's another little issue that you're going to run into if you've put a sacrificial strip into your table. Now, another nice little thing is that the Bosch router sled that fits onto the Bosch track also fits the Festool track. So that's a nice little added bonus. And now we have a Triton router on a Bosch sled on a Festool track. But if it works, it works. Okay, so there you go. You can see the issue I was having with the Bosch tracks and the issue that the Festool track is now solving for me. However, we need to now see just how much of a problem this motor is going to be before we call this the best solution. So let's check this out. Now, before I do this, I need to widen my sacrificial strip so that I'm not running cuts into my MFT table. So let's do that now. I'm going to get a new sacrificial strip into this. Then we'll get some test cuts with the Bosch track saw on the Festool rail with the larger dogs. We'll get some nice deep cuts and see if the motor is going to hit those dogs. I suspect it will. So like I said, this may not be 100% solution, but it might be a good solution to make a best of a bad situation. I suppose that's what I'm saying. So let's get this sacrificial strip widened and routed out. Okay, I'm all set up ready to go. So my track is perfectly parallel to this line. We're just going to widen this out. Depth is set. We're good to go. I'm going to route straight out through my end rails as well. And I'm going to put a 100mm piece in the whole way. So let's get on and do it. Okay guys, so the 4-inch or 100mm sacrificial strip is now installed. I didn't video all that because you would have seen me install this strip on my original MFT table build. Now, they're a great idea. The last one is really chewed up and there's still a bit of life left in this one, but it just saves your top, and you can replace this whenever it gets too badly chewed up, like I say, a nice removable piece. So now we can get some cuts in with the Festool rail. We'll check it out and we'll see if this motor is going to hit the dog, so let's do that. Okay, let's set up just a couple of quick test cuts, nothing fancy. We'll just make sure we're cutting square and that we'll see whether we're hitting the dogs or not. Now we have a piece of 12mm or 1/2 inch birch ply, just an offcut here, and we'll use that. So let's just get our dogs in. Set that up against there. Throw our track over it. So we get one for our track, will be right there. Another one here, just like that. Up on our saw, that looks good. Eye protection, ear protection. Let's make a cut. Okay guys, so that's pretty good. I cut quite deep into my sacrificial strip there. So, and the motor is still clearing that dog. So that's it. Once it clears that dog, when it's in the sacrificial strip, that's happy days. So we know it now works. That's not actually an issue. So great. We have a system that can work. Now if we just make sure we're 100% square, that cut is absolutely perfect. Happy days. Okay guys, there we go. Just a quick, simple test just to show that everything works. We did a nice deep cut into that sacrificial strip. That's deeper than I would ever want to go cutting into this table, and we cleared those dogs. So you'd only ever want to set your blade just below the depth of the material that you're cutting. And like I said, I went deep into that table and I cleared the large dogs. That's all I wanted to know. It's running well on the rail and it's cutting accurately and square. Happy days. Now, one little issue I did notice is that when you set the Bosch saw up on the Festool rail, when you take the slop out of it, so when you adjust the two knobs to tighten it down, it will not fit back on its own track then. You have to readjust those knobs. So it would be an issue if you're going to be swapping between the two rails, if you're swapping from the Festool. So if you had a small Festool rail and a large Bosch rail, or vice versa, swapping between the two would become a bit of a nightmare, especially if you're trying to set something up for a lot of cuts. That would be a real pain indeed. So it's going to be a case from here on out of me investing in all Festool tracks. So I'm going to get a couple of larger Festool tracks that will go the width of my MFT table and the length of my MFT table, and just use them from here on out. So there you go guys, hopefully some useful information for you. Okay guys, there we go. Hopefully that video has been useful and hopefully you got some useful information. I just wanted to share the particular problem I was having and a potential solution. If you guys have this Bosch track saw, or maybe you have the MFL track saw running on the MFL tracks, which are the exact same, the Festool tracks actually work, so it's probably a good solution. And that opens up the MFT table now to the rest of the jigs and stuff that you can get for an MFT table. The Festool tracks will work with the Bosch saw. So thanks again, like I said, to Vincent Howard, the Irish rep for Festool, for supplying me with this track. Much appreciated. And definitely check Vinny out on Instagram. He's at Festool Vinny. I'll link him below. He does all short reviews of all the Festool gear, and he actually gave me a look at the new Festool track saw that's not out yet. It's going to be released next month. That's April 2021. I got my hands on it today and I was really impressed just getting a quick hands-on and having a quick look around it. So I get one on this channel. We might even do a head-to-head with the Bosch. I'll try and get some more Festool gear of some of the newer stuff to demonstrate for you guys as well. So there we go guys, like I said, hopefully that's been useful. Hopefully that solves some problems from you. Hopefully it gives you guys some good information if you are actually in the market for a plunge saw. You might decide not to go with the Bosch. You might go with the Bosch now that you know that the Festool tracks work. Hopefully, like either way, like I said, the information has been useful. So I'm going to get out of here now. I'm starting to ramble. I shall see you in the next one, guys. Take it easy.